All right, good evening, beautiful people out there in Facebook land, YouTube land. Anyway, I've decided to throw together for you yeast rolls. And the yeast rolls is a recipe that I've been using for, let's say good, no, I'm not going to put years on it. Let's just say it's been a while, okay? So it's tried and true time after time. So, sorry, trying to adjust my camera just a little bit. This is typically not the camera I use. But anyway, so these are called cowboy rolls. And you can actually find this recipe on the internet. You can Google it right up. The one I like to use is actually a cowboyswife.com. This is the original that I've always used. I am a bread person. I love fresh, light, fluffy bread. So before we get started, because I always forget, playing in the kitchen with V is just like a side hustle adventure for me. Where I get to show people different recipes, how to make it. Sometimes we do soaps, water detergents, blah, 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 and I mix in a little music every now and then. So anyway, if you so far have liked the content and that kind of stuff interests you, give us a like, subscribe to my page. Yes, that is my little 25-pound mini wiener that should be more like 8 or 10 doing her inverted sneezes. So, yes, this house is full of, well, a mini wiener and a full-size golden doodle, which just happens, luckily for us, is outside in the fenced-in yard playing. So, anyway, get back to these rolls. I love bacon, and I don't do it a whole lot, especially around the holidays. I would typically cook for 3 days before Thanksgiving or Christmas. Needless to say, I've slowed down, and I hate to say now I have really slowed down because I have dropped a little weight, and I'm trying to stay away from all these delicious goodies. So anyway, my sister wanted me to make this, and let me just say, I would made this with you one-on-one. But anyway, so this is for her, Vicky. Cowboy Rose, I'm going to run down what you actually will need, and also, I'm going to do this a little different today. I'm not going to sit and let you watch me do this and that. I'm going to try to make this a little shorter of a video, so we can get straight to the point and get what you need to get done to get your rolls in the oven, okay? So, what I'm going to go over for you is your ingredients. You need a package of active dry yeast. I keep bukus of it because everybody in my family knows that I love baking and making things. So, you're going to need one of these. Cut them in between. I am actually, for me, and if you watch my videos, a lot of stuff, or everything I've put up so far, I like making double batches. The reason that is because just like these yeast rolls, we can actually freeze these yeast rolls and pull them out to thaw overnight in the refrigerator and actually let them proof and bake them. So, that's the reason I double a lot of yeast rolls, cinnamon rolls, anything with yeast typically that I'm making. So, first thing you're going to need is 1 envelope of active dry yeast. You're going to need a 1/4 cup of warm water, 1/3 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 cup of scalded hot milk, 1 egg lightly beaten, 4.5 cups of sifted all-purpose flour, and 2 tablespoons of melted butter for brushing your rolls. Now, I have already scalded my milk. So, also, very important when you're messing with, let's not say messing, when you are using yeast, is you really need a thermometer. Don't go guessing. I mean, I have guessed, but especially when you've scalded milk, you don't want it to actually feel like it's actually warm enough and it's actually too hot, because anything over 110 or 115, I usually shoot for 110, it's going to kill your yeast and your bread will not rise. It will be an hour and a half of waiting in the kitchen of getting nothing. So anyway, so that is our ingredients. Please allow for roughly 3 hours to make these rolls. Again, you can also double the recipe, divide it, freeze half of your batch, and use it for Thanksgiving or Christmas or just a afternoon dinner with a fam. So what I am going to go over first, I actually already have all these ingredients here, getting room temp. Now, eggs, butter. I prefer real butter, but you use whatever butter you want. There is no difference. I already have my sugar and my salt that's in there. I have a KitchenAid sitting over here that you will not see. Okay, so what we're actually going to do first is we've got to get our yeast and our hot water activated. So, like I said, you want warm water, not really hot water. And so I am using tap water. Also, when I put my yeast in my water, I also sprinkle in a little bit of sugar. And so we're going to do 1/4 of a cup of warm water. And for me, I can tell you, my water's way warmer than your normal water out of the sink. So you're going to actually take your water, put it in your bowl. You can use a mixing bowl, but you need a bowl that is roughly going to deal with about 12 cups to 16 cups. So the first thing you're going to do is sprinkle your yeast over the warm water. You're going to stir the yeast until it actually dissolves in the water. And again, I sprinkle a little sugar in the water. Then you're going to take and add your sugar, your 1/4 cup of butter, salt to the hot milk, and stir till the sugar dissolves and the butter has melted. No hotter than 115. Can't stress that enough. And then once we get all that mixed, we're going to actually beat in 4 cups of flour. And give me just a minute about my t-shirt that I have. It is Listen Locally, which was given to me by the host for Overtones Live. Renee Cobb. Yes, honey, Renee and Warren Cobb. And you can check out their live radio show that they host. It is overtoneslive.com. Also, there is, you can find that content on Facebook, on YouTube, and they host, or now I actually host, Overtones Live at Austin City Saloon in Corbin, Kentucky. Renee and Warren host the Overtones Live at Austin City Saloon in Lexington, Kentucky. And then there's also someone that does the Overtones Live in Louisville, Kentucky. So, and what it is we just try to get local talent out of Kentucky that are musicians, singer-songwriters, and we try just to get them out to where people can actually listen and pretty much see the talent that Kentucky has going on inside of it. That typically, giving people a chance to be heard, that typically has a hard time getting out to be heard. So, anyway, listen locally. Go support it. Overtones Live. Go check them out. YouTube, overtoneslive.com, Facebook. Renee and Warren will appreciate you guys so much. So anyway, I'm getting ready to add in my flour, all-purpose flour. Now you can use, I don't have any particular brand of the all-purpose flour that I use. Now what we have already done, we have taken our package of active yeast right here. We've added it into a 1/4 cup of warm water that I have temped and verified that it is actually under 115. I go for 110 degrees. Again, you can't go past 115 or it kills your yeast and it's really, the game's over. So anyway, and so I've put that in a bowl. I have added a little pinch of sugar. I've stirred it. I've dissolved that. And I've added sugar, butter, salt to my hot milk that I've also temped and made sure was under 115 degrees. I've taken that and I've actually put that in my mixing bowl. I've mixed that up. I've added in my 1 beaten egg. And now I'm going to add in 4 cups of flour. Now my recipe calls for 4.5, but I try when you're making anything with flour and you want it light and fluffy, the less that you can use of flour, far as once you get it mixed up, the less that you can add to shape it and mold it and whatnot, the lighter your rolls or your cinnamon buns or whatever, the lighter it will be. So I'm going to do that real quick. Again, I'm trying to make this short, so I'm not going to, allow you to look and watch me go through the whole ordeal process. I add 1 cup at a time, and just do not go in there and dump all 4 cups. Actually, do a cup at a time until your 4 cups is gone. Okay, and I'll be right back. All right, guys. So we're back, and I have added my flour. And what I do is I actually use a dough hook. Let me show you what that is. Once I get all my ingredients in the bowl and this dough hook can actually reach the mixture and get it mixed up, I use this instead of a whisk because this thing will actually get messy. It really aerates your dough a lot. You're going to have to take your fingers through this and get every bit of the dough off. And this is just, when I first started using this, I thought, that's not working. Yeah, but really it does. It takes a little bit longer. But with the dough, you don't want to really rush it. You don't want to be too fast with it anyway. So I've got my flour in. And let me show you. Now, this is bigger than what yours is going to be. Because, like I said, I've actually doubled my recipe. And so, this is my dough. And I have, what you're going to do is, once you get your flour added in, mixed in good, your dough should be a little sticky. And what you want to do is use a less flour as possible to put it out, and you're going to actually just punch it down. Add a little flour to your hands. I like to keep mine in a bowl, okay? instead of putting it out on my butcher block and just making a mess with it. But I've done this a few times. I've learned a few things. So anyway, but you keep it in your bowl and you just add a little flour to your hands and you punch it down for about 4 to 5 minutes. And so that's what I'm going to sit here and do. Then I am going to put it in a greased bowl, which I have my trusty little mixing bowl that I love so much because you can see through it. If you're doubling this recipe like I am, you will actually tear it, divide it, and add it into a bowl. We're going to let that set for an hour to an hour and a half. Depends on how the humidity is in your house and the warmness. So we will be back in just a few minutes and I will show you what it looks like after an hour and a half. All right, guys. So we have taken about roughly 45 minutes to actually double our dough. Okay. Like I said, this is the reason I do like using a see-through bowl, so I can actually see that it's actually done without constantly lifting up my towel. So what I typically do, because again I know a little bit about proofing dough, as I am an ex-donut maker anyway. So if you have a warming setting on your stove, or a warming zone, or a warming drawer in your oven, which I can tell you if you do, I'm horribly jealous. What you can do is turn it on as low as you can go, slide in your dough that you're needing to proof, cover it up with a clean towel, and that will actually give you enough warmth and hopefully humidity to actually help proof this. Otherwise, if your room is cold, you're going to have a little bit of a time actually getting your dough to rise. So what I'm going to do, and actually I can tell you, my actually without this warming zone on my stovetop, I would still be sitting here because my room's actually a little bit cooler than normal. So I'm actually just going to do this right here to bring down the dough to pretty much make it go poof. And I am going to make, just pinch me off a little bit. And actually, if you can not use any extra flour, like I said, these will be a whole lot lighter and fluffier. I'm going to grease my pan a little bit. And I'm actually not going to make a whole lot of these because it's just actually me and my husband at the moment. And I'm just going to make probably 6 of these. Just going to use a little bit of a pie pan. And I'm just going to shape these pretty good size. And let's hope I can only eat one, otherwise my diet's blown for today. And we are. So again, you can make these as big as you want. Actually, I'm going to do 4. No, let's do 6. My belly is grumbling. So, pinch it off, make you some dough balls, and then you're going to let this rise for 30 minutes. Then you will actually put it in the oven at 375 for about 18 minutes. Now, I have a convection oven, so that typically gets a little hotter, and the air actually rotates inside. So I'm probably going to do that more like 15 minutes. So put it in a container, make your dough balls, grease your pan, make your dough balls, set it again somewhere it's a little warm, cover it up with a towel, let it proof for 30 more minutes, put it in your oven at 375, middle rack, and about 15 to 18 minutes. I would start out, if you've got a confection, start out less, because you can always increase a little bit on your time, because you do not want to burn these now. You can take butter and brush your tops if you want. Or you can actually make an egg wash, which is pretty much, you take an egg, put it in a container, add a little milk, mix it up to where it's liquid. Take you a brush, if you've got a Teflon brush, and just brush the tops. That will actually make it like a golden shiny brown, but you're not actually going to put the egg wash on until your rolls are just about done. When they start getting a little brown, you can add it then. And so I'm going to go ahead and actually I'm going to spread the tops of mine with olive oil. And 375, 15 minutes. But again, these have to sit for 30 minutes. So I'm going to put it back over here close to my warming area. Again, I didn't actually say this, but if you have a warming burner on your stovetop, do not set this container directly on it. What I do is actually set it to the side of it and drape a towel over the actual warming burner and the stove. And I actually try not to get the towel to touch the actual burner. And so the rest of these, I am actually, because I'm going to freeze these for Thanksgiving, I'm actually going to make just little round balls with these. And what I will do is I will actually put them on a plate or something that will fit in my freezer. And I am going to freeze them just like this. I will not do not put them in a bag or a container until these are actually fully frozen. Because if not, you're going to have a bunch of dough stuck together, which I'm going to be quite honest with you, may work just fine. May work just fine. So, but then again, you may have a big old mess. So, give us just a few moments, 30 minutes for these to rise, and I'm going to bake them 375 for 15 to 18 minutes, and I will show you our final product. And just one other thing that I actually forgot to show you, something that if you've never made biscuits or rolls, you may want to know. See the ends of this? You could actually just take it and roll it around. But to get a nice, pretty, even top to look like a roll that you would actually buy in the store, I take my fingers and I'll roll from the one side to the other and make it, if you can see what I'm doing, all to the underside. And then, see that? It's a smooth top. And you just put it down on there. You will not see the ugly bottom because you're bringing that together and sealing it up. There you go. Alright guys, so actually I only baked these for about 13, 14 minutes. Let me show them. And it probably also had to do, it does depend on if you bake in a metal pan or a glass pan. Look at them yeast rolls. Delicious, delicious. And so, it is pretty, still pretty warm, but I'm going to try to grab one here. And I'm just going to cut it open. Oh my gosh, those are light and fluffy. I am going to slide some butter in that roll. Listen, if you're going to eat a yeast roll, you might as well have the butter. Because at that point, it ain't going to matter. So, now I did put olive oil on the top of my rolls. And it did not make them shiny. I did not do an egg wash. I'm going to be just quite honest with you. I'm a little bit lazy today. It's been 30 degrees outside, and I'm just really, actually, it's all I can do to get myself motivated to make the rolls. So, but anyway, with Thanksgiving coming up, I decided my family always asks for the rolls. I figured it's better just to go ahead and make them up. And that way I got them because I do stay pretty busy with our music stuff and all that good stuff. So, also, so I just added some butter on top, which you can do. My pan is, and see those raised pretty good. Actually, I should have showed you what they look like. So, I've had these sitting in the freezer for close to 30 minutes. Honestly, not nearly enough. But anyway, they are starting to freeze. So like I said, I freeze these like this until they're solid. And then I put them in a Ziploc bag with a date. You might want to do 12 at a time for a dozen. So at that point, what you want to do is, they should freeze up to 6 months without any issues. So what you want to do at that point, take them out the night before, or let's say probably 6 hours before you're going to make them. So they're completely thawed. Thaw them out in the refrigerator. Once you get them thawed, then you can lay them out room temperature. Again, make sure you got some warmness in your house. And if you've got a warming plate on like a burner or a warming drawer, you can use that. Proof them for 30 minutes after they get room temp and they've thawed out in room temp. And then you should be ready to go. Should be, and you'll always have fresh yeast rolls. So, anyways, let's take a bite. And you know, you can always tweak this, like if you want more of a sweet, it is a little sweet. But if you want a sweeter roll, you can always increase your sugar content. So anyway, we are ready for supper here. And tonight we're having ribs, veggies, baked potato, and rolls. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. This is my Cowboy Yeast rolls. I will put the recipe in the bottom in the description. Again, give us a like, subscribe. During the winter months, I will put out more video content as I get time to actually create it. If there's anything that you all do to adjust this recipe or whatever, please put it in the comments. If there's also anything that you're wanting me to try out for you, a recipe or whatnot, please feel free to put it in the comments, and I will see about looking into it to actually do that for you guys. So anyway, in the future I may try a cheesecake because I love cheesecake and they freeze so very well. And once they're thawed, they are just like, they taste like they're freshly made. So anyway, that may be my next video for you guys. So anyway, thank you for watching Playing in the Kitchen with V, and I appreciate you guys so much. Again, give us a like, subscribe. You never know what I'm going to throw up on YouTube or on my Facebook channel. And you can give us a like on our Facebook channel or Facebook page and Instagram. Would be great. And we're getting ready to do a TikTok. So anyway, see you guys. Thank you so very much, and we'll check you out next time. Thanks.
I knew it was trouble when we had a big fight. I thought it was coming, I guess it was right. Now you and him are happy as can be, and all I know is I'm glad it's not me. And you and him like peas in a pod. Now it's all over but I got my dog. And you and me, it's kinda funny, but I'm sure glad you're leaving, honey. The last of you, so long, honey, the last of you. I knew it was coming. The last of you, I got better plans.